Welcome back to Huddle Up. I'm Thomas Pocrnic, and as you can clearly see, Luca Celeber is not joining me this week. He's off filming some other content for you guys, so I got the start, but it's not just going to be me. In fact, we have another very, very special guest, and this one is pretty unique. But there still is a CFL link on this week's show because he did perform at the Grey Cup last year, and that's none other than Canadian country music star Josh Ross. He has over 143 million streams globally and is one of the fastest rising stars in the country music world. But what you might not know is he once had CFL aspirations, playing football at the University of Western in London, Ontario. We're so lucky to have him join the show today. Welcoming into the huddle, country music star Josh Ross. Josh, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
I'm doing great. I mean, you seem to be everywhere these days. I saw you opening for Nickelback last week in Nashville. You'll be at Boots and Hearts very shortly. But of course, the first time I actually saw you live was at the Grey Cup doing the halftime show. And I got to ask you about this because I was in about 7 jackets. I was bundled up so much. I think you could only see my eyes. It was probably minus 20 in Regina. And you were on the stage rocking in a hat and a flannel. So I want to ask you, how are you not freezing cold?
It was cold. I mean, I kept bundled up kind of till the last minute there. So I kind of stayed warm. And honestly, I think for them, that was kind of one of the more mild years that they had. So even with it being, way more cold than I'm used to, it worked out, I think, in our favor. So.
Yeah, well, you definitely put on a good show there. And it was kind of a full circle moment for you, honestly, playing at the Grey Cup, because it wasn't too long ago you actually had CFL aspirations as a football player. And I think not too many people know that you actually played at the University of Western in London, Ontario. So I want to talk to you about your football career. Why not? Let's just go way back to how it began. How'd you get into the sport altogether?
Yeah, I mean, I always played like flag football and touch football and all that growing up as a kid, like younger. And then once I was in the 9th grade, just got approached by some of the coaches there that, like in the gym class and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, come out and see what you think. And honestly just fell in love with the game really, really quick. And I think for me, it was just the team atmosphere and the coaching program that I had at Nelson High School in Burlington, Ontario was just so great. I fell in love with the game so quick, and quickly started changing my grades from, I was like an applied / academic student to academic because I knew I needed that to be able to go to university to play, and got tutors and really just started focusing on actual school too. So.
Awesome. It's a great, sort of pathway story. I know you played at Western, you were a defensive back. Did you always play that position, or when you first got in, were you kind of moved everywhere around the field?
Yeah, I played a little receiver in high school. So they tried me a little bit there. Just wasn't my thing. I'd rather hit people and stuff like that. I played free safety too, so I definitely played a little bit of safety also, and that's kind of was always on the defensive side, and then special teams too.
And what was sort of the whole process like, being approached and scouted by Western? Were they the only school, or did you sort of get to make a decision and weigh other options?
Yeah, it was crazy. I remember like I barely had any offers, and so I came back for we had like a half-year victory lap thing in Ontario, and I came back for a half year because in grade 12 I only had I think I had like 2 offers. So being able to kind of come back, do that, and then I basically had to pick and choose between, I think it was like 4 or 5 schools, which was really awesome. And I always loved Western. There was something about it. I kind of felt like it was just obviously the program's so great there, but just the attitude and mentality was really great too.
Nice. I want to ask you obviously about the big pivot, because your football career ended due to injury, and all of a sudden you just made this career change, this life change, and picked up music. So is that something you always had in your back pocket?
I definitely always loved to sing, and people that know me know that music was really heavily just in my house growing up, and just one of those things that I still say this day, everybody always gets confused by my playlist, but music just kind of makes me feel all different things, and depending on what mood I'm in and stuff like that. But no, always loved to sing. And just with the injuries, I started picking up a guitar, writing a little bit more, and then just kind of turned into this full transition where I was like, I really enjoy this. My body enjoys this a lot more. And, I was trying to really figure out long-term what I wanted to do as a career.
So obviously playing football, it's a tough sport. There's some nerves. how do you measure that? Lining up as a defensive back, you got speedy receivers running at you. How does that compare to standing on stage in front of thousands of people?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of similarities. I think, especially early on, the music side might have been a little easier because you kind of felt like you're only letting yourself down if, didn't perform well, or in those situations where on the field, it's that, again, that brotherhood and the try not to let everybody down around you and do your part. And if you play your part, that's your job, is to get your part done. And that definitely translates over, especially now where I'm at, where, I have a lot of different teams in both Universal Canada, Universal Nashville, management teams, booking agents. There's a lot of moving parts now, and not letting them down is a huge thing. So I definitely still get that crazy feeling, like you're saying, like lining up, knowing like I got to get this job done.
I think that's some pretty good insight, because not that many people think about that. You think it's just the artist. It's just, you sort of on stage, but you do have a great team around you.
Yeah, I mean, when I first got into it, I was like, oh, music's gonna be so great because, it'll be just me. I'll write songs, people will love them, and I don't need help from anybody. And then you really realize that it is really a team effort and very similar in a lot of ways.
So we've had a ton of different CFL players on this show, and I always find that the players who play different positions tend to have different personalities. Maybe like a wide receiver's, very outgoing, and then the quarterback is maybe more serious. So I want to play a little game with you about your songs. So I'm going to list some of your, most notable, most famous songs, and you're going to have to tell me if that song played a position on the football field, what position would it play? All right. Okay, yeah. So we'll start off with the hit song "Trouble."
Trouble. I feel like Trouble's the quarterback right now. It's he's kind of driving the team, driving all the other songs, and is really the song that's changing a lot for me.
I like it. I'd probably say the same thing as well. How about Red Flags?
The Red Flags would probably be like probably linebacker for sure. Yeah, just kind of dealing with
it hits hard.
Dealing with the punches of life. Yeah, for sure. So.
Let's go to Ain't Doing Jack.
Ain't Doing Jack. Probably a lineman. Just kind of reminds me of being big and bold and just doing the thing.
All right. We'll go to my personal favorite song of yours now, On a Different Night.
On a Different Night would be The Party. Probably a wide receiver. Yeah, like you're saying,
I like that pick.
A little more out there for sure.
Okay, I'll give you two more. Tall Boys.
Tall Boys. Probably a corner. I always thought corners were like kind of goofy too. Yeah. I played half, but like I always felt corners were kind of. And Tall Boys is that summertime kind of goofy song.
Love it. And lastly, we'll go with First Taste of Gone.
I feel like that's the free safety side of things. Just very, emotional and trying to lay the hit on how things feel.
Love it. Great insight. I always say, like, football, it's a sport, but there's so many intersections between life, music, and to see your personality on the football field sort of blend into, your music career so far. That's awesome. And we'll finish up with one thing. We always run this segment on the show called Three Downs for obvious reasons, being a CFL show. So you played last year in Regina in the Grey Cup. If you could give me your top 3 CFL cities you'd love to perform in, what would those be?
Definitely Hamilton, just because close to home. I grew up, born in Waterdown, which is a suburb of Hamilton, Ontario, and definitely a Ticats fan at heart. So playing there would be really awesome. I love the BC Lions. I love the stadium and what they got there. Just kind of like it's like a swaggy spot, I like to say. And also Regina was still in my list. I heard that the fans are crazy there, and I got to kind of really see that, especially like you're saying, when it's like 25 below. Yeah. That many people to be there and that dedicated to the sport is really, really cool.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you continue to hit a bunch of the other cities across Canada. We wish you best of luck in your music career. So have a great time at Boots and Hearts next week. Keep killing it. Keep bringing the football player comps into your songs. And
awesome.
Just keep it up. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks,
and
Thomas.
hopefully we'll talk to you sometime soon.
Thanks, dude. We'll see you soon.